I'll try to make this really quick. They contacted me at midnight last night, so I'm trying to put everything together chronologically. So about a year and a half ago, my husband and I we're driving. We drive a lot for work. We shoot horses. Spend a lot of time in the car and listens to stuff on his headphones. And it's usually the news and political stuff and everything like that. And I usually do my own thing, read or whatever. And he was watching something, and it was scrolling down through the stuff, and Vice aired this piece on this church, and he was listening to it, and he kept pausing, and he's like, "You gotta hear this." He's like, you just gotta hear this. And then I'm like, okay. And then he was like, wait a minute, it's not done yet. So he did it 6 times. I'm like, listen, just listen to it. When you're done, just forward it over, whatever. So he forwarded it over, and I started to listen to it, and he was looking at me the whole time expectantly. He's like, and I'm like listening to it, and he's like, yeah, find where this is. He's like, find out where this is. He's like, this is amazing. They were talking about this church, and it was the time where they had the blessing ceremony with the ARs, and it made the news, and it was just ever. So I got on the internet, and I started researching it, because that's my thing. Anytime he gives me a task, I'm the researcher. I'm a big old nerd. I'm always reading. I'm on the internet. So he gave me about 15 minutes. He's like, what'd you find out? And I told him, I was like, this is this. And I'm just like, where is it? And I'm like, it's 15 minutes away from where we are right now. And he was like, what? I'm like, it's right down the street. I was like, we pass it all the time. We have a big barn up there. And I was like, we pass it all the time. He's just like, are you kidding? And I'm like, no, it's right down the street. He's like, you want to go? And I'm like, sure, yeah. I was like, let me do some more stuff just to, make sure that, whatever. So we started coming, and we brought the kids, and it was everything that Vice said it was. And it was great. And I'm like, what's wrong with us? Because we're excited, and I'm like, is there something wrong with us? Because this is so cool. So thank you, Vice. You did a great job. So it's definitely different, but it's not though. There's some stuff that's different, but the core values of Christianity are here. They're here. So we had a time where I think we stopped coming for about 4 months because he got hurt, and we had to take a break because he was hurt, and we were backlogging because after you're hurt, you have to finish everything else that you're backlogged on. So it started to spiral. So we came back, and after we had come back, when we were coming before he got hurt, we were kind of still feeling things out, trying to figure out a couple just stuff that's just different from regular Christian church, so we were trying to figure out all that stuff, and we kind of sat up there, and we were really quiet, and we kind of just were feeling things out. When we came back from him being hurt, something had changed, and we were in groups, and we started talking to people, and we were becoming very involved, and life started to change so much. And it changed so fast. It happened so fast. We just started talking to a lot more people, and things started getting so much better. When we finally figured out that the way that True Father and has everything set up, it's designed to work. It's designed for success. It's designed to give you a life that is so much better. It changed the way we parent. It changed the way that we related to each other. It changed the way our children looked at us. It changed our children. So, I'm sorry. So we started the Divine Principle class, and Gideon is amazing. I don't even know where he is. He's an amazing teacher. He doesn't make you feel like the things that you were taught before. He doesn't make you feel bad about it. He just tries to make it so that you understand that it's not your fault that you were taught that way, because that's like the mainstream Christian way, and it's like that's the way you were taught. He brings it around to you so that you don't feel bad, and you feel okay about rethinking the things that you were taught, that were indoctrinated, because it's not even teaching. I grew up Catholic, so that in itself, there's not a lot of room for questioning. It's not encouraged. It's just, this is what it is. You have an hour every Sunday. Do your prayers that you were taught. There's no thinking or anything like that, and there's no deviation from whatever. It's always just the same. And he taught us that, like, I would never have even put together that Adam and Eve were supposed to be Adam and Eve, like that. That was it. That. It's never even mentioned that could even be a possibility. So we're about halfway through that class right now, and we are learning so much, and we have really rethought everything that we have been taught all these years. And like I said, Gideon's an amazing teacher. He's really great. This is what God wants Gideon to do. It is very obvious. Sun Mi is awesome. I don't know if she's even here. She is amazing. We love her. She's great. And like I said, you in these classes, you don't ever feel you should never feel like you don't know anything. And then if you don't know anything, it's even better, because you can just learn everything the way it's supposed to be taught, and you don't have any hangups. So a little bit ago, the thing for the blessing came up, and we had talked about it, and I'd researched it, and I went online and I looked at videos of blessings, like the 2,000 people and the thing, and I was showing it to him, and he was like, that's a little overwhelming, but it's kind of cool. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool, you know. And it's like, it gives you a sense that traditional weddings are more like it's about the bride and the groom, and it's more self-centered. When you see those weddings, when all those people are there, it's like, look at all of this. It's not about us. Look at all of these people that are getting to experience like this amazing thing, and we're doing it together, and it's great, and we're going to see them again, and it's like we're this huge family. We're not alone. It's awesome. So we started talking about it, and then we were like, okay, you know what, we're going to be about it. And, you know, we talked about it, and we're going to be about it. So we went to Dorit's, who's amazing, again, another amazing couple. And Jim and Harumi, we went to their home. We always feel welcome. We always feel like family. Miss Roseanne, I met when we started taking Weston to class. And the minute that I met her, it was like I knew her my whole life. And she's wonderful. And she checks up on us, and Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we made the decision. We took the class, and the class is a couple hours long. And anybody who's done it or who knows about it, it's not your traditional Christian like, mainstream media type of deal. And we had a long drive home and we talked about everything. And I was like, all right, I was like, this is it. I was like, we're not going to just, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. And we got to believe it 100%. It's not going to work if we don't. We can't go through the motions because it doesn't work. So we're in or we're out. I said, and he was just like, I'm in. I told you I was in. And I said, I'm in too. And I was just like, and this is the rest of our lives. I was like, this is the rest of our lives. And we're going to raise the kids up this way. We're going to raise our grandkids up, great grandkids, if we're still there. And I was like, and we're going to create a real, true lineage. And we're going to create a, I forget the word, I'm sorry. We're going to create and we're going to keep it going. And we're going to be like the model that our kids and our grandkids look at, and they want to be like, and they want to go, and they want to tell other people. And I'm like, this is what we're going to do. And he's like, okay. I'm like, okay, we're going to do it. So we had about 2 weeks before we had to go down there. It was crazy. Like, because we know like very little about the traditions and the customs and everything. So again, research. And I was like, well, we're going to need this and this. And I was like, we have to do this. And then I researched more about all of the other things we had to do. And, we did that. And it was like 2 weeks flew by like so fast. And it was like, we had like 12 hours and I didn't have a dress. And I'm like, wait, it's like, where did the time go? Like, what happened? Why aren't we prepared? Like, how can this have happened? Like, we had 2 weeks. So I went on Amazon and I got like 6 dresses and they all came and they were all horrible and they didn't fit. And I was like, this isn't going to work. Why don't people make white dresses anymore? I don't understand. So he got a suit in like 12 hours and it's like, I can't even get a dress. So I'm definitely going to prepare my sons and so that their wives will probably already know how to do it anyway. But I'm not going to let them go through what we did. But we did it. We got our stuff and we headed down. And we even got our rings at the last minute. Thank you, William. I don't know if William's here. He like rushed these rings. Thank you. He rushed these rings. He brought them to the house the morning that we were supposed to leave. He brought them down. And it was like, okay, so we got all our stuff and we left like 8 hours late. And it was okay, though, because it did 150 on the way down. And if we cut you off, it was us. And I'm so sorry. But it was for a good cause. But we got there and it was great. The property is amazing. When you go and you're on the property, it's amazing. It's exactly what God intends. It brings you in, and it draws you in, and it clears your mind, and it makes you receptive to everything that Pastor Sean and True Father and God, everything that they want, it's there, and it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be great, and it's just perfect. So the ceremony was awesome. It was really hot, and like my pantyhose melted to my skin. I think they're still on. I can't even wash them off at this point. It was so hot, but it was great. And we were talking about it later, and it was like we had to wonder. It was great for us. It was great for our marriage. It was great for us as a couple. But what really gave us the most joy is watching the young people. That was so wonderful. Was watching them and knowing that the lives that they're going to have and the children that they're going to raise, and that their lineage is going to go on, and they're really, that was the most important to us, because their lives are just beginning, and in a sense ours are too, because our lives started all over again the day that we were blessed. it started all over again. It's like it's truly like you were reborn. And I never understood when people were born again. Like I understood what it was, but it was like a cliche. Oh, I'm born again, you know. But you really are born again after you receive the blessing. Like your marriage is born again. Your outlook on life is born again. Your optimism, everything is born again. So we spent the day. We shot. We went out to eat. It was so much fun. We got to spend time with the academy kids, and I will say that those young people are more competent, and more disciplined, and more respectful than the people that are running our country. They are like the most amazing group of young people that we have ever met. And if raising our families to be like this is wrong, I'm really sorry. I don't want to be right, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm totally okay with being called like an extremist, a white supremacist, a cult member. That's fine. I don't care. I just don't care, because they are just the most amazing group of young people. And if we can get more young people, and we can get more families, and they're out there, those families are out there. It's just the media is it's so much the devil. It's just the devil, and it's making people truly afraid to step away from this just step away from the herd and be separate, and it's making people afraid. But they can be reached, and there's a lot of people out there. We know a lot of people who have the same values as us. They're just so sucked in by the media. It's so dangerous. It's so dangerous. So we had a great time. It was great. We got to talk to people that we really that we've seen in church, but it's busy, you know, and everybody's frantic after church. But we took walks with Dorrit and her husband. We walked up to the spring, and they're amazing people. We got to, like I said, we got to hang out with the sanctuary or the academy kids, and it's just, we got to do a lot of stuff. Sean took us around the property. It's beautiful. And we came home, and yeah, like, and we're here. But the church has changed our lives. And when your life is changed, it trickles down. It trickles down. Like, we're better. We get better every day. We completely changed the way we run our household, and our children are benefiting from it. We have, like, we don't watch TV. We've cut the TV out. We've cut like all that stuff out. We watch the King's Report with Tim, and if he doesn't do it one day, David really loses his mind. And it's a really good thing that we don't know where Tim lives, because I think his life would be awful if it was just awful. But to wrap it up, we've never met a group of people who dedicate and believe in this more than these people here. They give up their time, their energy, everything, and it's devoted to make people better. And God's design is the best design. If it's not God's design, it doesn't work. It's like putting diesel in a gas engine. It doesn't work. God's design is there for a reason, and it works. And this church, it brings it all together, and it helps you, and it encourages you, and you can't fall here. You can't. If you fall, it's because you choose to, because there's so many people there to lift you up and to get your back and to keep you going and to push you forward and to challenge you and to educate you. There's so many people. So if you're falling, it's because you haven't reached out, or you're unwilling, because there's so many people that will give you any amount of time to make you better. So thank you.